Welcome back everyone. For today's video, I want to speak with you about software testing design techniques learning with ChatGPT AI. We're back to our presentation, and for today's agenda, we will have test case design techniques. We'll look into static testing, dynamic equivalence, partitioning, boundary value analysis, state transition, use case, exhaustive testing, decision table testing, exploratory testing, error guessing, and also pairwise testing. So what is test design? Test design is the process of transforming general test objectives into tangible test conditions and test cases. And for more information and for more real examples and scenarios, we'll ask ChatGPT. So now we're back to ChatGPT and let's ask him following question. Let's ask him to describe the following software test design techniques and add a real example for each of them. So let's wait for a response, and we see that it starts with writing a static testing definition. And in other words, static testing is a go-to method for catching defects before any code is executed. We typically start it by reviewing requirements, documents, or design specification to ensure everything aligns. For example, it says that reviewing a web application requirements to identify missing, unclear, or conflictual requirements before development begins. Dynamic testing is where we see the software come to life. It's exciting because it reveals how the system behaves when executed. And for real example, we see that running the test cases on a login page to verify if invalid credentials allow access and invalid one display appropriate error messages. The next test design technique is equivalence partitioning. Equivalence partitioning is a technique that divides input data into partitions or groups where all values in a partition are expected to behave the same. And a real example is for an age input field that accepts values from 18 to 65. Valid partitions are between 18 and 65, for example, 2550, and invalid one is below 18, for example, 17 and above 65. Boundary value analysis is more focuses on testing the values on the edges or boundaries of input ranges to detect defects often found at the extremes. And for example, for the same age input, 1865, we test with values 17 lower boundary and 18 lower boundary, or 65 upper boundary and 66 upper boundary plus 1. State transition testing. State transition testing examines the system behavior as it transitions between different states in response to events or inputs. And for example, we have a user login process. When we log out, enter valid credentials, log it in, log it out action, and log it out. So this should be the sequence that works well, and there should be no error or no misunderstandings in it. Use case testing technique. So this is a technique that validates that the software correctly handles real-world user scenarios or workflows as defined in use cases. And for real example, we test an e-commerce site, for example, functionality place order, and the use case should be the add items to cart, process to checkout, enter payment details, and place the order and receive confirmation. Next one is exhaustive testing. Exhaustive testing involves testing every possible combination of inputs and scenarios to ensure comprehensive coverage through it's typically impractical. And for example, for a calculator, testing in addition with input 1 and 2. Test every combination. It's like barely impossible to test all combinations of pluses or multiply function, and getting a lot of time to do that. Next one is decision table testing. Decision table testing uses a tabular representation to analyze and test all possible combinations of conditions and actions, ensuring the system behaves as expected for each scenario. And for real example, the ChatGPT gave us, we're testing a loan application system, and we have the conditions and as a high credit score, low income, existing loan, and reject application. This is the action. And the condition, like for example, with a good With positive scenario is a high credit score, high income, no existing loan, and we have action as approved application. The next one is exploratory testing. Exploratory testing is an unscripted ad hoc testing technique where testers actively explore the application to identify defects through their own intuition and experience. This is more related for experienced testers, which are um, testing application for a lot of time, and they know like hidden bugs or something like how systems supposed to behave under different circumstances. Error guessing design technique. This is a technique where testers use their experience and intuition to predict and test areas of the application that are more likely to contain defects. This is similar to exploratory testing and also related more to experience to engineer. And for real example, we test on areas like password fields for potential issues such as incorrect handling of special characters or extremely long passwords. And the last but not least is a pairwise testing. And pairwise testing is a combinatorial testing techniques that ensure all possible pairs of input parameters are tested, reducing the number of test cases while maintaining the good coverage. When we have lack of time and we have to cover all the possible scenarios for a lot of devices, a lot of operational systems, we pair them and pair inputs into smallest amount of test cases available to cover all the possible functionalities. And for an example, for a mobile app supporting multiple OS versions, operational system versions, and screen resolutions. For example, we have iOS, Android, and screen resolution at 720 and 1080 and 4K. So pairwise tests ensure testing combinations like iOS 720 and Android 1080 rather than all possible combinations. And that's all for test scenarios, and I would like you to show the website where we can try these test design techniques in real world scenarios. So as I promised, we're going to use our knowledge in test design techniques on the website with real world scenarios, and also we're going to ask for help from ChatGPT to resolve some of them. So we have challenges here. We're going to resolve some of them. Let's try this one, and it's boundary testing. As we know, we have boundary test design technique, and for this challenge we have to test all the invalid boundaries for the date and time field. Test one boundary at the time, and we have to put the invalid data here and find 16 invalid cases. We can do it by ourselves, thinking, reading, but as we have ChatGPT in our team and we got some assistance from it, we can paste the specifications here and within a second get all the invalid cases, invalid information, and try this out. So he got us input 1. We can try this out here, and we got the first invalid case. And we can do this to the rest and find all the 16. This can significantly reduce the amount of time spending on thinking and finding out those invalid boundaries. And also I want to show you the challenge 4. This is a bit harder challenge because it has a lot of information to analyze and find out. So we have to create 5 valid data input for the specification below and enter them one by one until we reach 5. We can do it by ourselves, but the human eye, it's a lot of data and we can read it, analyze it, and figure it out. We're gonna spend a lot of time thinking, but as we have ChatGPT on our side, we're gonna do as well for it. So we're gonna paste the specifications in the input, and within seconds or a minute, we will have all the answers. Now it's analyzing the information we provided. Let's give him some time. And here we are. We have 5 numbers. We can try those out. Let's do this. Check. Yeah, and we found the first invalid CNP number. So that's pretty much it for today. Thank you for your attention and take care.